Hey guys, so today I want to show you a little bit about the firmware I created for this CC2652P SoC. It's a multi-protocol RF microcontroller from Texas Instruments, and I wanted to finally get into it as it's quite some thinking needed to understand how the CCS, the Code Composer Studio, works. And the goal was to create a firmware that replaces the CC2531 ZigBee SoC. This is an 8051 core and this is an ARM core. And on the CC2531, normally the firmware from Texas Instrument itself would run, the TI-Mac firmware, to drive the custom firmware or upload custom images to the custom firmware on these e-paper price tags, and to just have more options to choose as an access point. I wanted to get into this chip, and I can now share a successful firmware of it, which drives the e-paper station from Daniel Kyocera and is fully compatible to the TI-Mac firmware on them. So you just can choose between the chips, and of course need to upload the correct firmware on both of them. Here is a good part. It has a ROM bootloader, so to flash the firmware you don't need any extra adapter or anything. You just enter the bootloader by holding the boot pin and reset. But there are quite some manuals online. You can find also different types of these USB sticks or just bare chips. Then you need a serial converter. But enough of that. To demonstrate it, we have for once here the e-paper station firmware. We have a bit of logging from the ZigBee messages around. So you can already see that each blinking is a ZigBee message coming in. And also we have here this online viewer where we can see all the displays checking in. In this case, the two e-paper walls on the wall. And yeah, you can see how that works just fine. But if we now even trigger a new creation of an image, it's this meme thingy you can also find in the description, and then wake up this display here. So it will request a new display, a new image. Otherwise it would take up to 5 minutes. We can now see that the image is being downloaded, and you can see that this offset is increasing on each download. And also that the file should be around 13 kilobytes. So you can see this takes quite some time, and that's also the only downside right now, as something is still not at its maximum, since the CC2531 is just way faster in transmitting it. And I'm thinking it's about the UART connection, that there's something too slow. So the image should be uploaded now. And yeah, we can see it is now displaying it by using the CC2652P microcontroller. This should also work on the CC1352 and also the P or without P version. And yeah, as mentioned, the flashing can be done without any adapter with the TI Flash Programmer 2. It's directly compatible to the UART protocol or via such an C JTAG flasher. And overall the reception is just super good and way better than this one overall. But also these type of USB sticks are a bit more pricey than the CC2531 version. And this is normally coming in this aluminum case like this, but for once to develop, I screwed it open, and also to enter the bootloader, it's way simpler to remove the case. But even that, I have read that you can do it by when the stock firmware is flashed on them, you can just use a Python tool to bring it into bootloader mode and then flash it that way. So you don't even need any screws. But you still need to flash the displays, so you need to have something to flash stuff anyway. And yeah, the firmware is open on GitHub, and you can find it in the description. For once, of course, the one for the displays, which is using Dmitry's custom firmware, and also the firmware for the CC2652, of course. Okay.